Hello and welcome to Out of Our Shells. My name is Emily M. Cheung, and this is a podcast where we feature awesome women who do awesome things. And across from me today is Stephanie Van Dyck.
Hello.
And she is probably one of the most flexible people I've ever met in my life. She's a circus performer. We met on a performance that we did together for the World Sleep Congress, right? Mm-hmm. With a group called Circus West. And you did a handstand thing while I was singing along to it, which was absolutely amazing. For a piece like that you did, how long would it take to practice that particular work that you did?
Well, oh my goodness. I would say, I have like a version of my routine that I kind of rework for every show. So the base is very similar, but I'll change like a few tricks here and there, or like if the music changes, then I'll adapt it to the music basically. But that piece specifically, I guess it took me, oh my gosh, probably 2-3 weeks to build, so not a lot of time. Yeah, and that's not even every day. Like, yeah, like I'll get inspiration and then I'll try something out and then, kind of add on to it when I feel inspired again, unless there's a really big push for time. But yeah, so.
Yeah. And how, so generally, just to give a sort of idea of what it was, there was a sort of platform with 3 poles coming out of it, vertical poles, and then these little hand things that you held onto. Is that a normal kind of construction for a handstand act?
Yes, it is actually.
It is.
It's very, yes. Some people call it rods. Some people call it canes.
Okay.
I call it canes just because I had French coaches, and that's kind of like a more French way of saying it. So canes is what they're called. They're really standard. Sometimes there's 2. Sometimes there's 4. You could really have any amount of canes if you wanted. You could have like 7, I'm sure. I've never seen 7, but I'm sure someone out there has that. But yeah, so it's just like a really standard thing for handstands. Like most people that do hand balancing either perform on those or on like chairs, so they stack the chairs up. Yeah,
I've seen the chairs as well. Yeah,
yeah.
Cool.
Cirque du Soleil does a lot of that stuff. So,
yeah. Are they? I saw when you're performing that they actually kind of shake a little bit. Are they because they weren't like solidly screwed in? Is it helpful to have a little bit of flex in the cane?
It is, yeah. So like we call it like ply basically, and it helps you a little bit because if you're a little off balance, your cane will kind of tell you where to direct yourself next, so you can kind of like steer your balance back to where you need it. So to be honest, those are a little too shaky. I was like, I need to do something about this because this is a little too much ply. Like, you want a good amount. So, but no, it's super normal. Like, most people don't have really stationary, like, super solid ones. They usually have a little bit of movement in them.
I see.
Yeah.
So when did you get into the whole handstand stuff, the whole circus thing?
Yeah. I got into it... Well, not professionally, but when I was in high school, I did a lot of like acrobatics classes through my dance studio. And then, oh my gosh, when did I start doing it professionally? I think I was 18 when I started like actually performing.
That's pretty young though. 18.
Yeah. So for a good 10, 11 years now, I've been performing and doing different like corporate gigs and traveling a little with it. So yeah. So
was there something that specifically steered you in that direction, or how did you get into acrobatics?
Dance. Honestly, it was funny story. I mean, it's super random, but my dance teacher was like, "You're really flexible. You should try acrobatics." And I was like, "Acro what?" So I just like tried it out and loved it. And she was right. I am flexible. So I was like, "Okay, this works with my body." And and it's something that I've been really passionate about for a long time. And it's a good sport. It keeps you in shape and. Yeah.
Absolutely. So how much of it would you say is nature versus nurture? Like flexibility, for example. For the longest time I couldn't touch my toes to save my life. But, a little bit of yoga and, I got to a place where I could touch my toes. But for something like circus, that is such a completely different level of flexibility. Is that something that anybody could do, or do you need to have a sort of body built for it?
Yeah, for contortion, it's a little different. Like, you kind of need to be born with that flexibility to some extent. You can work on it, but other circus disciplines like juggling are really easy to get into if you don't have the flexibility, I guess for that there's another challenge, like you need hand-eye coordination, but I'm sure that's something you can develop.
Yeah.
Handstands, different too. Like, you don't need to be born with a natural ability so much for that as you do for contortion, because you can kind of just, teach yourself to balance, and it's just repetition and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But for contortion, for sure, you need kind of like that background. I mean, it helps, but that's not to say like you can't get into it if you don't have that flexibility. There's a lot people can do. Yeah. They can really like manipulate you.
Where does the line of like what is considered contortion versus just normal flexibleness needed for circus stuff?
I would say, I mean, that's a really tough question, because like in my opinion, I consider contortion when you're really using your back. So like regular flexibility, like I know aerialists that just use their legs, like they do a lot of really crazy oversplit stuff, and like they use their legs for lots of their flexibility, but contortionists generally do use their backs. But then you get other contortionists that do like the crazy dislocation stuff where they like pop their shoulders out, and I don't do that. Like it's a bit different what I do. So yeah, that's probably what I'd say. Yeah.
And so would you say handstands is your main thing that you do, or are there other disciplines circus-wise that you enjoy?
Well, yes, handstands definitely are my main thing. But I do a little bit of like aerial hoop. I've pretended to be a strap artist before. That was fun. Actually, I think you missed that one. There was a Vancouver, it was the opera festival that we performed at. Yeah. So at the Queenie, just outside, we did like a big Cupid love story show.
No, I was there. That's actually where I first got introduced to Circus West.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
Well, first, it's all
met, coming back to me.
I met Marley. Marley is the person who got me involved with it. He's one of the guys, like the strong base for somebody who's on their, like, doing their handstands on top of him kind of thing.
Yeah, he's insane.
Ridiculous.
He's insane.
No, but I met him at another gig that I had done. Then he asked me to go to see the scuba thing. That's where I met Jay, who's the producer of Circus West. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, so I did. Okay, yeah, you did do straps there.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. So
That's
I tried to, pretend that I was an aerial strap artist when I really am not. That was actually my first time touching those things.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But it was fun. It was a really good challenge, and like I built up a lot of strength, I would say, in like the 3 weeks that we had to build the act. So that was kind of cool, push my limits a little.
What kind of strength would you need for that versus the handstand stuff that you do that's different?
Well, for straps, it's more, okay, so basically when you're doing aerial, it's a lot of pulling, whereas handstands is a lot of pushing. So it is very different.
I guess it's a different kind of muscle
movement. I don't know exactly what muscles. I'm not very good with like the anatomy, but yeah, it's very, very different. Like I remember doing a hoop act, and then I tried to do handstands after, and it was so hard to transition. Right. Yeah, it's very weird because you're using such opposite muscles. I don't exactly know why, but yeah, so it's a lot of like, pull-ups when you do like, or chin-ups, they call them. Yeah, it's kind of like that.
When I do chin-ups.
Right? You know those.
Never.
No. They don't have like a chin-up bar in here that you do in between takes?
No, I mean, I would, yeah. I mean, like I said, I don't put the time into it. So I know if I put the time into it, anything is possible.
Totally, for sure. Yeah.
But certainly at this point, not possible.
You're a busy girl. Like you've got lots of stuff going on.
It's true. Yeah. So what kind of things do you need to do? Do you need to do like training on a daily basis in order to keep it up, or is it something that you can go a month not doing any handstands and then you'll be fine going back into it?
No. Yeah, no, you don't want to do that. I mean, so I used to do about 5 days of training a week, but then I got into school, and since being in school, I've cut down to about 3 days a week, and my training sessions aren't as long, which is a shame. I really miss it. But no, ideally, like if you want to be a professional circus artist, you want to train like, if you can, 4 to 5 days a week, I'd say. Yeah, and like when I was training that amount of time, it was usually 2 to 2.5 hours a day. So not like crazy long training sessions, but as long as you're like effective with it, it depends on how you utilize your time. Like some people will come in and they just like kind of roll for like an hour and a half, and like, okay, now I'm gonna do some actual circus. Yeah. So it's like, and obviously rolling is very important for your body too, but it's
rolling
just
like foam rolling?
Yeah, foam rolling.
Okay.
Yeah. And like you can use like peanut balls and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, like, and yeah, that stuff's great. But it just depends on how much time you have to really dedicate to it. Like if you have the 4 hours to do it, then sure, roll for, like a couple hours. Like everyone loves that. But
so what would you do when you're training then? Run me through like a normal 2-hour training?
Yeah. So usually, like, when I went to underground, I would go in and I would usually condition for about 45 minutes, half an hour to 45. That was to kind of just get your body, like, going and do a lot of...
Conditioning, doing what exactly?
Yeah, so we had different exercises in a book, like a series.
Oh, okay.
And we had like press 1, which was to work more on like your press handstands, so being able to kick up with no force, basically. So you're just kind of like pressing and using all your muscles to get your... It's a lot of technique.
Okay.
But there's a lot of exercises in that day that would help you get your press handstand. And so I'm trying to think of what that would include. Like, we did a lot of V-snaps with the ball in between your legs, and you're like passing a big exercise ball back and forth.
Oh, okay.
Those are horrible, or not my
like
favorite.
upside down?
Like on your back. So you
back.
like lock it in between your legs, and then you like lift up and you grab the ball and then go back and then do the same but reversed. Okay. Yeah. So that's one of them. What else? Like, we did a lot of, it's kind of hard to explain without showing, but, like, I mean, a lot of ball exercises, really. So, like, we had these big exercise balls and, like, a tracker, and we would put the ball into the tracker, so, like, 2 kind of arms, and then your feet go on. Have you ever done those gym ones where you put your feet on a ball and you, like, tuck in and you're in a plank?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so, like that, but going all the way up to a handstand and then coming back down. So, just kind of, like, handstand drill sort of things.
Okay.
Yeah. So a bit of that, like a lot more, you know, ab work and that kind of thing, because you need that sort of strength to be able to do those type of handstands and like those transitions. And then after that, I would usually stretch for a bit. So I'd warm like my back up, my legs up. I do like over splits, like lots of kicks. So that for about, oh my gosh, maybe 20 minutes or so, 25 minutes. And then I would start like really training. So I would probably do handstands for about an hour and a half sometimes. Just depends on...
That's incredible. Do your wrists not hurt? I mean, I guess you just like make your wrists stronger, but like an hour just on your hands, that's a lot of pressure on your hands.
It is, but I mean, it just depends on your technique. Like, you just have to have good technique, because...
What is the technique?
You want to press your fingers into the ground. So instead of like letting the weight bear into your wrists, or your palms, I should say, you want to try to really like focus the pressure into your fingers. So we call it spider fingers. So they're kind of like your knuckles kind of come up and you're pushing your fingertips into the ground, but your palm essentially stays flat.
Your palm is flat, but your fingers are up and your fingertips are pushing into the
ground.
Interesting.
Yeah. And it's kind of like that weird, like you get one, you know, like when you get that.
Like the double jointed.
Yeah, if you have double jointed fingers, I think it makes it a little easier.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And, I mean, does your strong hands come in handy for other things?
No. Actually, I feel like it's really not transferable. Like, I can't open jars to save my life.
Really? What? Yeah. I mean, I feel like that would be the perfect. That's exactly what you need to do, right?
I know, it's so weird. I don't know what it is, but yeah, I just can't. Like, and my grip strength is pretty good, I guess. Like, I do some things where I condition and I hold on to like a rope with one hand, and I'm like, this is really easy. And people are like shaking, and I'm just like, I don't get it. Like, I never trained this, and they're like, damn you and your handstands. Like, yeah. So it's definitely transfers to other circus skills, I'd say. But yeah.
And being upside down for that long, does that? I mean, all your blood would be rushing to your head all the time. Is it something like? Do you need to like a deep sea diver? Do you need to like come back up slowly, or is it like how do you negotiate that?
It's funny because I don't get a lot of head rushes, really, to be honest. Like, I don't think I've had many at all unless I'm sick or something. Like, I have a cold. But you just, I mean, as long as you're breathing, I think that's really the key with handstands. Like, you want to make sure you're consciously breathing in your nose and out your mouth, and you're just really focusing on that, because the minute you kind of hold your breath, that's when you'll get dizzy.
Okay.
Yeah, so, like, actually, if I hold my breath for too long, and I'll know because I'll get, like, burst blood vessels sometimes around my eyes.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah, just, like, little kind of red dots. It's nothing, like, you know,
major,
you're not going to die. But yeah, like, that's how I know that I'm not breathing, basically. So I have to remind myself to keep doing that. And also that fuels your muscles, and it, you know, it keeps you strong. Like, if you're holding your breath, you're not going to get as much out of your body as you would if you were breathing properly. So
yeah. So what was it that brought you specifically to handstands? Versus straps or aerial hoop or something else. Like, just you just enjoy being upside down? Or
Well, honestly, I think it's just because that was what was available at the dance studio I was at. Yeah.
Okay.
Like, we never had aerial hoops or anything. So it was just, like standard acrobatics is more, like, flipping, like, tumbling, like, contortion, I guess you could categorize into that. Yeah, and, like, handstands and elbow stands, and I know I'm kind of, like, riffing off, and you're probably like, what are all these things? Like, I don't know. But, yeah, like, just a lot of that. So I kind of just carried on with that, and then the hoop and, like, all the aerial stuff is something I got into later when I was more exposed to circus.
Right.
Instead of, you know, like, the dance studio acro. So, yeah.
Did you have, like, a specific teacher or a mentor that kind of, I mean, you said this teacher said, oh, you're really flexible, you should get into that, but so did they know specifically about handstands, or did they pass you off to somebody else who knew more about it?
Yeah, she definitely passed me off. So the owner of the dance studio that I went to, because I danced, like, 25 hours a week or something when I was in high school.
What kind of dance?
Ballet, jazz, pretty much everything. Like, you name it, I did it.
Yeah.
Except for tap and hip hop, because I'm very tall and it just doesn't look nice when I do it. It's not a good look. But yeah, like, so all of that. And then she passed me off to a woman in Langley because they actually worked together. So yeah, so this woman, Anne Lawton, we called her Miss Anne, because in ballet usually, or dance usually say Miss.
Right.
Did you ever dance?
I have danced, but I took ballet when I was about 5, maybe. Okay. And then I took all of the I took hip hop and I took contemporary dance when I was younger, and then I did Polynesian dancing and salsa and flamenco and, like, the more ethnic kinds of dances versus traditional, like, ballet and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
When I was older.
Cool.
But, so I can definitely move, but in a different way to you know, the very strict forms.
Like, for sure. Yeah. So I started training with this woman in Langley, and she kind of, like, I guess, I don't know the word for it. I was going to say groomed, but that sounds kind of weird. But she, you know, like, built up my skills, and then one day decided that I was ready to perform. So I started doing stuff with her. She was definitely a mentor for me. I really, like, cared about her on a personal level as well. Like, it's funny because I find through circus, like, the community is quite small in Vancouver. So you really bond with people. Like, you get to know everyone really well, and it was a lot different from what I found in the dance industry, where it was a little more, like, everyone was more reserved, kind of. Yeah. I mean, from my experience anyway, but yeah. So circus, yes. I mean, I feel like circus is definitely a more niche thing than dance in general. So exactly.
You need to have somebody on your side who's willing to go with you.
Yeah.
So how would you teach somebody to do a handstand?
Okay. So, why don't I just teach right now? Well, basically, like, I mean, usually I teach people to do straight handstands first, so I won't get them doing contortion ones until they're a little more experienced.
Right.
So
contortion ones being where you sort of bend your back and your legs go in a
exactly kind of, like, feet to head, and you're, like, doing, you know, creepy kind of things with your body. So that's, like, comes later. But usually, like, against the wall, I'll teach people. So a lot of people think back to the wall, but I do a lot of, like, tummy to the wall stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, like, you'll go up and you'll face the wall, and you'll probably cartwheel into it. Usually I spot people to get up because they're a little nervous, like, you know, the first couple times. And then just a lot of, like, you want to make sure you're tucking your tailbone under if you're doing a straight handstand, and you want to kind of, like, I wouldn't say suck your stomach in, but you want to think of closing your ribs. Like, in ballet we always said knitting your ribs together. So you're kind of hollowing out your belly, tucking your tailbone, so you're staying really like, rigid, really solid. And then you're working your fingers a lot, so, like, all of your balance and your restabilizing yourself all comes from your fingers and your hands.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So do you teach circus?
I do. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I teach. Yeah. I don't do a ton of teaching. I used to do more. But yeah, I teach kids at a dance studio in West Van called Anna Wyman.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So I do that, and then I also I used to teach adult classes too at Tantra Fitness, which was really fun.
Oh, Tantra's great.
I love Tantra. Yeah, so that was, like, super fun. Just, like, a really empowering, like, body positive studio, and I loved the vibe there. But yeah, just with school and stuff and getting acro gigs, I've been so busy that I just don't have time for it right now.
So where are you going to school?
BCIT.
Oh, fantastic. For what?
Radio arts and entertainment.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's been a great course. Like, journalism's a big part of it, too, and all that. So
are you hoping to go on in broadcasting then?
I would love to. Yeah, I'd love to get into radio or news. And yeah, it's just something I've always kind of wanted to do. And I'm an actor, so also it's, you know, in line with what I've done for a long time. But I just wanted a more kind of like steady career. Like, as a performer, it can be kind of tough, you know, like, yeah, the life's a little hard, and I'll always love it and I'll always do it, but I just needed something a little more consistent for a while, and it's just nice learning something new too, you know? Like, yeah. And
you're almost done?
I am. I'm really close. I'm done. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say really close, but like, I still have a bit of time. I'm done May 15th.
Okay. So. Well, that's, in the scope of things, that's really close.
I mean, yeah, but it's also only a 2-year program, so I'm like, like, I'm basically halfway through or just over.
Yeah,
but I'll take it. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So is there something that you would like to do specifically in broadcasting?
Yeah, so I think radio. I think probably radio or like TV news or TV hosting. Anything where I'm performing. Because I find, like, a lot of people in my program want to do productions.
Right.
Yeah. And it's not, like, for me, I'm more of a performer. So I definitely want to get into that side of things. And, like, just radio personality. So where you kind of, you know, like, you're on air and you're playing, like, top 40 hits or rock hits or whatever. And then you're kind of, like, telling stories in between and that kind of thing.
What would be your music of choice?
My music of choice. I like a lot of music, to be honest. Like, I'm kind of into everything. It's really.
If you were to host your own show, though, what would it entail?
You know what? It would probably just be like a mix of everything. Like, I'd probably have like Ariana Grande, and then I'd have. I don't know, like Bon Iver, like do you know Bon Iver, the folk singer? It's like so it's like very mellow, like, or like The National or something. So yeah, just like I'm literally into everything, and even like old jazz music. Like I love Otis Redding and Elvis. Like so honestly, just a whole slew of things. And I also like rap, which is like totally different from all the other things I like. But I'm super into hip hop. So so I'd probably do like just a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Well, what kind of music generally does a circus performer like? Is there a specific kind of music that circus entails, or is it anything?
Well, okay, so basically, like the standard is something with no lyrics. Yeah, because I don't really know the reasoning behind it. It's very odd because when I think about it, I'm like, well, you can express so much through lyrics. But, like, if you go see Cirque du Soleil, there are some lyrics, but...
It's a lot of oohs and ahs and noises.
Exactly. Exactly. Like, a lot of oohs and ahs. Like, that's basically the whole thing.
Yeah, so, which is what I did for the circus thing that we did together as well, right? And it felt natural, but I don't know why. I'm curious as to why that is, you know?
Yeah, no, for sure. I know. I really don't know the answer to that, but like I do know that is pretty standard. And like even when I did rhythmic gymnastics growing up too, with like the ball and the hoop and the ribbon. Yeah. So with that, it was the same thing. Like, you have to pick music with no lyrics in it. And I was like, but that's not fun. Like, I want lyrics. But, so, yeah, that's kind of traditional. But,
interesting.
Yeah. But you can get a lot of really good ambient music now. Like, there's a lot of beautiful pieces.
I wonder, I mean, do they think that it's going to draw too much attention if that people start thinking about the storyline of the lyrics versus what the person is doing?
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Like, that's my hunch. But I really don't know for sure. Like, it's so hard to say. But then, like, you also will perform with lyrics. It really depends, like, especially in the corporate world, because I do a lot of corporate gigs. It depends on, like, what the client wants.
Yeah. And what generally would a client want?
Sorry, what would they want?
Yeah. What would be different from a corporate gig versus, you know, another kind of performance you would do?
Well, corporate is more structured. Like, you're really catering to that client. Whereas, like, if you have a show that's open to the public, you have a lot more creative freedom. So with, like, corpo gigs, a lot of the time, like, the promoter, the person who finds the work for you will contact the corporation and say, hey, like, are you okay with this piece of music?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty, like, structured. But we... like, for a couple gigs, actually, we've used, well, quite a few, what is that song called? dog days are over.
Yeah,
whatever
dog
it is.
days are gone.
Okay, dog days.
Yeah.
It's like dark days. I don't know, something with a D. But yeah, so they've used that song a lot. So like that has lyrics and yeah, it just kind of depends. But when you have more creative freedom in a public show, you can pretty much play anything. Like I love playing the glass animals. Like they're a big go-to for me. And yeah, and they have like some lyrics. So yeah,
that's cool. So what is the craziest show that you've done with your circus things?
Craziest show. Oh my
gosh. Or most memorable.
Most memorable show. Wow. That is a hard one. It's so crazy. Like I've done so many that I feel like they blur together so much.
I know that feeling.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think of like most memorable. Oh my gosh. What was the most memorable? That's a really, really hard one. Where did I... Oh, actually... Here's a very memorable...
Good or bad?
I mean, it's like somewhere in the middle. I went to a small town called Lloydminster.
Okay.
It's on the border of Saskatchewan and Saskatoon. So it's a very, very, very small town. There's like 4 restaurants. It's very like small town life. We went out for dinner one night and there was like a bar fight between 2 of the employees.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
So one guy like threw a jug of water at the other guy's face and like it all just went downhill from there.
The employees?
Yeah,
Oh, no.
it was really bad.
Okay.
Yeah, and then our server actually didn't have enough change for us to pay with cash. So her boss came up and was like, you're going to have to go down to the gas station down the road and get change and then come back and settle up, like, to the server. And she's like, okay. So we basically had to wait for her. So it was really weird. Actually, I think my coach ended up saying, like, no, I'm not, I can't, like, I think she just left her money or something. Like, she left all the money and didn't even want change because she was frustrated, which I get. Like, it was like, okay, this is so weird. But then, yeah, the show was, like, in a barn.
Oh.
Yeah, so there's like dirt kind of on the floor, like some kind of, I don't even know what you call it, but some
straw
kind of,
bits and
straw, like, yeah, so there was some weird stuff on the floor. It was a very interesting crowd, like just very different from what you would find in Vancouver, like more professional in Vancouver. They were just really laid back, like casual kind of like farmer type people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I ended up doing 4 acts in that show.
Oh, wow. So is that a lot?
It's quite a bit. Yeah, like usually you do 1 or 2. But I did hoop, I did hand balancing, I did a duo, and I swear I did something else. I'm blanking. But anyway, I remember being so tired. Like, my friend was watching because they had a big screen up when I was performing, and she's like, I could see your butt, like, twitching. Because I was, like, trying so hard to hang on. Like, I was doing this balance pose, and it was a lot. So that was probably the most interesting show I've ever done.
What brought you there?
I honestly can't remember what it was for. I'm trying to remember what the company was. But, yeah, it was a corporate gig. And
In a barn.
In a barn. Yeah, really, really weird. I feel like that's probably how they do things there, though. I think they probably do a lot of
in a
barn
gigs.
gigs.
That's where all the major fun shows happen.
The fun happens. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it was an interesting one, for sure.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And do you think, you've got the other things, the acting that you said and the broadcasting, but as far as circus goes, is it a long-term thing? Like, are there a lot of older people? Because, you're still really young, but, like, how old do you go before you stop doing circus? Or can you just continue doing circus for the rest of your life?
It really depends on how your body handles it, I think. Because you get some people that, honestly, like, I know a woman from Vegas who is she must be in her, like, mid to late 50s now. And she, from, as far as I know, is still doing contortion. Like, full on, like, feet to head, like, bum on head, like, crazy bendy stuff. So obviously, her body has held up well, but there are some people that it just, like, it depends on injuries. I feel like there are a lot of injuries in this industry. So it's kind of one of those things that it's a gamble, like some people, and then also I think a lot of people too get tired of, like, the physical work and that side of things as they age. So it depends on, like, I think it's a very personal thing, but also the coaches at Underground, they're in their, I think, late 50s now, and they're still performing. So
crazy.
Yeah.
So you can still
strong.
Just depending on how the training keeps up, I guess. Have you had any injuries, or have you been lucky to not?
I have had back issues. I wouldn't call them like injuries per se, but just aggravation in my back. Like, I do see somebody for IMS, like intermuscular stimulation, it's called. So they do, they put a needle into your back.
Oh, is that the dry needling?
Yeah, basically. Yeah. I love it. It's so satisfying. I'm like, oh yeah, get that knot out real good. Yeah.
I think that was probably the most painful thing I've ever done, because I was a waxer for a while, right? I was taking out people's body hair, and my thumb was having issues, and so the one I went to one doctor, said, oh, you have tendonitis, and I was like, oh, I don't think I have tendonitis, but okay. And then I went to another person, they said, no, it's this muscle here, and so he put one of those dry needles in, and it was just the most intense pain I've ever had in my life for about 10 seconds, and then it was gone.
Exactly.
And then everything was fine. And I was like, how? And apparently how it works is that you become so stiff that your body doesn't realize that it's stiff anymore, and so it doesn't know how to relax, and so you have to actually poke it to be like, there's something wrong here.
Yeah, like, come on, relax now. Like,
you
red
need to
flag.
relax now. And then your body goes, oh, there's something wrong. Okay, and then it relaxes it.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
It is crazy, and it's super effective. Like, I haven't had this good of luck with any other treatments than I have with IMS, so I'm really thankful for it. Yeah, like acupuncture doesn't work the same for me at all. So.
Right. Well, I guess it's a similar kind of idea, but just not as angry.
As aggressive. Yeah, exactly. That's for the people who have like aggression issues. They get into that field so they can like stab people with needles and just
wiggle that shit around.
Yeah.
Oh,
do you feel it?
I still remember that pain.
It's bringing you back.
Oh man, it was incredible.
PTSD.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was the only the one time, so
yeah,
can't really say that. But cool.
Yeah.
All right. So with the handstands, I just being upside down. That have you? So you haven't had any kind of like repercussions or anything to your, like, how is it's easy for you now, obviously, to just go upside down, and it's just a matter of practice?
It's funny because it's so much like juggling. Like I think they're very similar in a way, because it's a lot of repetition. Like you're just trying and you're falling and you're failing constantly over and over again. And then you finally see like a little bit of reward, you know, like, okay, I've got this one handstand, and then there's so much more to do. So it's like, the more you practice, and I think honestly, like especially those two disciplines in circus, the more you just repeat and keep doing it, like you need a lot of time, basically. You need to have a lot of time on your hands to be able to do it. Well, I should say. But so but no, I've been really lucky. Like I know a lot of people that have had injuries. A guy I know had to stop doing handstands because his elbow would lock sometimes when he was performing, which, you know, doesn't sound very good. So
lock as in like stay stuck?
I think so. He didn't really get into like too many details, but he's like, I had to stop. My elbow was locking. And I mean, the only injury I've had was actually recently. I wasn't even doing circus. I was punching a punching bag. I was in a boxing class, and I missed the bag and hyperextended my arm. Oh. So it kind of locked, and my shoulders, still kind of icky from that. But
that's crazy.
But and then Nino at the Underground Circus, she has a pretty bad elbow injury. I think it's her elbow and shoulder, and that's from, I think a lot of it is hand balancing. So it really depends on your body. Like I've been super lucky. I don't know why, but
so are there other kinds of exercise that you like that work well with circus to help train things that also circus needs?
I mean, yoga's good. Yoga's really good for a lot of things, I would say. Like for alignment based stuff, because they really focus on like squaring your hips and all that sort of stuff. Whereas circus is more, I'm not going to say the words abusive, but it's like just not, you don't pay as much attention to your I mean, you do.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm trying to, like, do you know what I'm trying to say? It's just like, it's very, like, it's based on breath work, yoga. So you're really, like, that is the sole purpose of it, is to, like, find your form and work through the struggles and, you know, your breathing. So it does really relate to that, because you're out there and you need the focus when you're performing. Like, you're in front of lots of people. So it helps to kind of focus on your breath and just, like, tune into your body. And then also, like, injury-wise, it's really effective for if you have, like, you know, hip injuries or back injuries or something, like they really teach you that proper form, because it can be easy, like while you're performing, especially, to kind of just let that go, and you know, you're trying to do something properly, and then you're maybe not using the right technique for it, but you just want it to look good, kind of thing. So that, I would say yoga is like definitely a good one. Cardio, like any running, is good too. It tightens you up a little bit if you're doing contortion, but good for endurance, because you need that for acts. So
how long would an act generally be?
It really depends, but I mean, when I started, 6 minutes was like standard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's now more like 4. Like most of the acts I perform. Yeah, I don't know.
That's not very long.
No, it's not. I know.
I mean, I guess that's a lot if you're upside down, but 4 minutes doesn't seem like a very long time.
No, it's not. And I mean, especially for you, because you're a singer, and you're probably like, well, I'm up there for like an hour.
What?
Yeah. But that being said, like if you're doing a full show, like you were part of, you're on stage doing other things, but you're not like doing that one thing for an hour, you know?
Yeah.
It's weird though. I feel like it's gotten shorter and shorter. I don't know. Maybe people's attention spans are shorter.
It's a thing.
Yeah, no, for sure.
It's definitely a thing.
Yeah, but if you are doing like, so we have an act, which is like the 4-minute piece, and it's choreographed to music. And then you also have like ambient stuff. So that would be like 10 to 15 minute sets that you'd go out and just improvise, basically, but doing your skill. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So that's a bit longer. Like,
right.
And you do that like 3 times in an evening kind of thing. That's usually standard.
Okay. So do you have any like specific things that are specific to Stephanie that you do with your handstands, or?
I mean, I like doing a lot of one-arm handstands. That's
you're good at that.
It's kind of like become my thing. But it's fairly common. Not in the city. Like there aren't a lot of people that practice them. There are some. But like in the scope of the whole world, there's a lot of people that do one-arm handstands. And yeah, I mean, for me, like I've always kind of relied a lot on like my lines, because I'm tall and I have pretty long legs and stuff, and I guess ballet has helped me in that way too. Like I've learned to point my toes properly, and you know, like I'm conscious of that stuff. So I rely a lot on that for sure. Probably a little too much sometimes. I'm like, I don't need the strength. I just have, you know, I can use my lines or whatever. Like,
I look pretty.
Yeah, I look pretty. Exactly. That's all that matters. Yeah.
Well,
so,
you know, it is.
No,
I mean, it's a performance art, right? So if it looks pretty, then all the better.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah.
But
yeah.
Have you found that circus has taught you things that have helped you in your life in general?
Yeah, I would say so. I think honestly, like the biggest one for me is like perseverance, like just being like able to continue and like repeat something over and over again and really work hard at it, and like that has helped me so much. I would say confidence as well. Just being in front of like that many people kind of gives you that confidence with other people.
What was the largest audience that you've had?
Oh my gosh. I don't even know. It's so hard to gauge. I mean, I know I've performed in front of an audience like around 1,500 before.
Oh, okay.
So like quite a fair size. But the corporate gigs are smaller, you know, because they're like, it's just like one corporation.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I wonder how many people were at that sleep conference actually, because that was
pretty big.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was I would say at least 1,000.
Yeah.
900 maybe.
Okay. So yeah, I mean that's probably like pretty standard
yeah.
But sometimes they're smaller. And then actually no, I performed on Canada Day, and that must have been like a good 3,000 people, something like that.
Cool.
So yeah, so like I've done some stuff that's a little bigger. But yeah.
So how do you feel about like Cirque du Soleil or something like this? Would you ever be interested in joining up with them?
Well, actually, funny story. When I was 18, they kind of like offered, there was a woman who was like retiring, or she was injured or something, and this was such a long time ago because I'm now 29, so I'm like trying to remember. But I auditioned for not like a particular show, but they had like scouts there, and we did our routines.
Yeah.
And my coach after emailed me and said like they'd really love to see you for like Zumanity, which is a show in Vegas, and I would be like replacing one of the hand balancers, doing the water bowl act.
Crazy.
Yeah, but I was 18 and I was like, oh, I don't really want to pursue this because A, I'd have to move to Vegas, and B, it was like a nude thing, so like topless, and I was like, I just don't, like at this age, like I'm younger and I just didn't feel comfortable. So yeah, I mean, like I would pursue it, but it's hard when you have other things on the go too, you know? Like for me, I love circus and I'll definitely always, for as long as I can, keep doing it. But it's one of those things where it's like, you know, like that has to be your sole thing. Like you have to be like, okay, I'm doing this circus thing and I'm going to like just work for this company, because it's a lot of work, right? It takes a lot of dedication and yeah. But amazing experience, I'm sure.
Is circus, I mean, would you say circus like the biggest circus thing that's happening worldwide right now? Are they the top of the food chain? They're big. I'd say they're definitely the biggest. But there's also a lot of like independent companies that people forget about. Like really modern, like cool kind of like abstract companies that are just doing really creative things. What would you suggest to look up?
Seven Fingers of the Hand is like my favorite company. They're
Seven Fingers of the Hand?
Yeah.
That's an interesting name, okay.
I know. They're French, I think. It's like Le Doigt de la Main. I'm literally butchering my French right now, but like it's, they say it in French. It sounds a lot cooler in French than it does in English. But yeah, and then there's also Gravity and Other Myths, which is another really like abstract contemporary circus company.
Cool.
They like do some phenomenal stuff. Circa, Australian company that is, and they're contemporary. There's oh my gosh, what's the other one that I was just gonna... Cirque Elwaz, that's a popular one too. They tour, and I have a couple friends that have worked for them, so
that's fun.
So
I guess touring would be an interesting experience. I have spoken about this before, is that when you do a show over and over and over and over and over again, it's a different kind of concentration and a different kind of renewed passion that you have to bring to it every night. It's a little tricky.
I agree. Well, you're doing the same thing like so frequently. It's like, how do you make it new every time, or how do you make it entertaining for yourself? Because that's important too, right? I mean, it would be a really... I've traveled a lot, like with just the circus companies in Vancouver, like around Canada, like a little bit of stuff in the States.
Oh, cool.
So like that, I've got kind of my... like it's satisfied my appetite for that to some extent. But it would be nice to go and do, you know, something more like that, and you become really cohesive with your cast, and you know, they become like a family. So that would be a neat experience, I think. But
How big is the circus scene here in Vancouver?
It's very small. It's very small, yeah. Like a lot of people that start up in Vancouver, they end up moving to Montreal if they like really want to pursue circus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and there's a school called the National Circus School. So they're like a really big school. Their performers, like when they come out of that, I think it's a 4-year program, they're like just unstoppable. They're so good. So like really passionate people will... I mean, sometimes I wish I'd gone there. Like I think about it, and it's hard because for me, I've always been like, okay, do I want to do this? Do I want to... Like I enjoy so many things that it's tough. Yeah. But... if I had it all over again, I might have gone there. But yeah, so Vancouver in its own, not a lot of stuff going on. There are some schools. There's definitely great coaches and places to learn. Yeah. But it's not like somewhere like Montreal or New York or I don't think LA actually has a huge scene, but Toronto has a little bit more stuff going on. Yeah. So
I found that it seems like circus things are popping up more in social media than they had in the past. Like it's becoming almost trendy. Yeah. To be able to do these kinds of like contortion-y things and handstands and all that sort of stuff. Have you noticed that yourself, or?
I absolutely have. Yeah. It seems like a lot of people that just have never been exposed to it are kind of like, or you know, maybe they see Cirque du Soleil or something and they're kind of like, hey, I want to like try that. And then I think also just the fitness aspect of it. Like a lot of people have started kind of taking like adult classes because it's a way of staying in shape.
Right.
And it's not like, you know, drilling away at the gym and doing like 1,000 crunches, which sounds horrible. It's like, you know, you get to like stand on your hands and do cool flips and stuff like that. So I think that's a big part of
something
it.
Something that you can add into your like everyday life. Just
exactly.
Walking down the street, I'm going to do a flip right here.
Yeah, right now. I'm just going to do it. Anyone want to pay me? I take tips.
That's so much fun. Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you for talking about circus and your life. I think that's a good place to stop. And
Cool.
Thank you for everybody listening, and I hope that you have a wonderful day.
Awesome.
Bye.
Thanks. Thank you.